Dan here from Vagabond Buddha.
Shanghai from Power Ranger.
We are in Lisbon, Portugal. And we're walking around town. We're heading on the Old Town walking tour.
This is Dan of Vagabond Buddha. This is the video of my free Lisbon walking tour. There's an interactive Google map for this walking tour. Just click the link in the notes below this YouTube video on your smartphone. At that link you'll also find day tours, restaurants, accommodations, transportation, along with a link to the best travel or retire cheap in paradise locations in the world, and how to make money online while you travel the world. Okay, back to our video.
So the Pantheon is at my back. I'll show you that in a minute. But I'm just photographing the neighborhood around it, or videoing, I should say. It's very beautiful. There it is, the National Pantheon. I'm going to back up a little and then tell you about it. So this is the National Pantheon behind me. It's formerly a church. The construction of it began in 1681, but it was not completed until 1966. For that reason, the church has become a Portuguese symbol for an endless construction project, almost 300 years. It was converted to the Pantheon in the 19th century. There are a bunch of famous Portuguese people buried here. So this is the beginning of our Old Town walking tour here in Lisbon, Portugal. This is the first stop. If you click the link below this YouTube video, you'll find a Google Maps walking tour. The walking tour will take you past the Saturday market here. That's what this is. And I would call it a flea market. It's mainly used stuff that people are selling. But it's fun to see everyday life. We're in the Alfama now, which is the oldest neighborhood in Lisbon. Dates all the way back to Roman times, and also Islam took over for a while. And the biggest hint for that is that the streets are too skinny for cars. We must be getting near the entrance because the castle wall now is on our right. And here's what appears to be the entrance to the castle. So after you buy your tickets, you come in through here. And they have these little gates that you stick your ticket in, and that admits you. Ta-da! You're in the castle. Wow, I found the view. After you enter, you go left, which is where I'm standing, and this is a serious view. You can see there's the city below you there, and then there's the river. And it's a big river. Look at that boat out there. So this is St. George's Castle. Although humans have lived in Lisbon continuously since 600 BC, the walls of St. George's Castle were built in 48 BC. before the Romans, the hill was used by Greeks, Phoenicians, Carthaginians, and after the Romans it was fortified by the Moorish people when they were controlling this area. The castle is named after Saint George, a warrior saint. That's him there. Saint George is often portrayed slaying a dragon. King Manuel I honored Vasco da Gama here in the castle when he returned from discovering the sea route to India. Of course, Vasco da Gama discovered the sea route to India in 1498. Just a few years after Columbus discovered the Americas. Once they figured out the world was a sphere, they started heading on all directions. If you're enjoying this video, could you please like it, share it, comment below, or subscribe? That will rank us higher in search engines so we can keep making these travel videos for you. Thanks so much in advance for your help.
Regardez les filles, le papa va nous dire où aller. Nej, jag flickar jag har det kommer ja, det kommer de att ja, men vi ska ja,
lite kraftigt där var långt här. Det är så man det är
The walk from the castle to the next stop will take you to through the oldest neighborhood in Lisbon, called the Alfama.
First drink and then heat, okay? Heat chocolate.
OK. Là, il y a moins d'escaliers comme ça.
We're looking for Sao Miguel Church, and I think we found it. That is probably the steeple. So this is St. Miguel Church. Out front is St. Miguel Square. The church was built in 1180. It's been extensively remodeled because we are in earthquake country. It's in the Alfama neighborhood. So this is the outside of San Miguel. And since this is in the Alfama, it's only walking streets. Cars do not fit in most parts of this city. There was a 9.0 earthquake in 1755 that took down most of the city, but Alfama withstood the test of time. So this is Commercial Plaza. There was a devastating earthquake here in 1755 that leveled the palace where we stand. Behind me up here is Don Jose I. He was the king at the time, and his palace was reduced to rubble. Luckily he was out of town at that moment, and so he wasn't killed in his palace. 50,000 people died here, but anyway, it's never been rebuilt. Through here is one of the nicest walking streets in the city. That'll be we'll walk down that walking street as we head to the next spot. The king was said to be so shooken by the earthquake, the 9.0, which is just devastating, and the fact that the whole city crumbled around him, other than the Alfama, the neighborhood we were just in, that he apparently never wanted us, was very uncomfortable sleeping in buildings after that, so he would often sleep in tents so there would be no building that could come down around him. Anyway, that's him up there on the horse with a pigeon on his head. I guess eventually a pigeon is higher in the hierarchy than all of us, even kings. So you walk through the arch and come this way, and it's a walking street, no cars, and restaurants and retail. That's what it is. Okay, we're at the end of the walking street. That's the arch down there at the end. See the horse between? And now we're at a beautiful park, which I'll tell you about in a little bit. But first we're going to walk to the end of the park, turn right, and there's a church I want to show you. So this is the church of Sao Domingos. The church was first dedicated in the 13th century. It was rebuilt several times after earthquakes in 1531 and 1755, and was gutted by fire in 1959. The church was reopened in 1994, but signs of the fire can still be seen. Many royals have been married here. Many people were executed here during the Inquisition. which I'll tell you about when we are at the National Theater, which is what we're looking at now. But first, let's go in the church. If it looks really rustic to you, it's because it was gutted by fire and left how the fire left it. They just put a roof on it, I guess, after rebuilding it 4 times. They got tired of spending money on it, but it's an active church. I don't know if you can let you get a little closer look here. You can still see the fire. Evidence of the fire here. The other thing that's amazing about this church is that it was almost completely went to the ground in the 1755 9.0 earthquake. And you can see, like, they've pieced it back together. So many of these pillars probably had come down and cracked and were in rubble, and they reused many of the same parts. Like you can see, the stone here was rounded and then it's been cracked, broken. It's also, of course, hot enough fire is capable of doing that, but so I'll leave it up to the historians, just noting this church has been around since then, as I said earlier. So when you exit Sao Domingo, there's this Aginjana. It's looks like it's cherry liqueur and it's brandy, okay. And it's cherry brandy, I suppose. Anyway, it's supposed to be a local favorite.
Yeah, it's €1.40.
Yes.
It's
cheers. How is it?
It's sweet.
Sweet?
It's sweet, but it's not too sweet. It's just nice. It's a very nice brandy.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is Rossio Plaza. It's at the end of that walking street. And at the end of Rossio Plaza is the National Theater. That's the National Theater right there. Beautiful place. The National Theater was built after a fire destroyed the Inquisition Palace in 1836. The Inquisition Palace was built in 1450 and is where the Romans, where the Roman Catholic Church would accuse, torture, and convict Catholics of heresy. They were then burned at the stake here in the middle of Rossio Plaza, where I'm standing now. When you're in Rossio Plaza and you look at the National Theater and then turn to your left a little, you'll see the train station, which you can see peeking out right now over there. I'm going to go get a little better shot of it for you, but that's the train station. It's an Art Deco building. Let's go peek at it. There it is, the train station, Art Deco. We're going to sneak in there now and see if it is the spot where we catch the train to Sintra. In fact, there's Shanghai now in green. She's headed that way. Okay, the train leaves Lisbon station.
This station every 30 minutes.
To Sintra. And from 6 in the morning till 12 at night. We're going on Wednesday to Sintra. And now we're going to continue our Old Town walking tour. And as you walk to the next stop, You want to get some shots of Rossio Plaza. That's where they burn heretics at the stake. And that up there is the convent we're going to soon. And we're going to use the lift to get there. So this is Santa Justa lift. The Santa Justa lift is a large elevator that holds 29 people. It takes people up to the Carmo Convent area where we're going next. It was built in 1900 of wrought iron. It was originally powered by steam, but was converted to electricity in 1907. And there's a big queue there now, and Chung Hoi has said she doesn't want to wait in the queue, so we're going to walk around the corner up to the convent. There's the queue. No thanks. Wow, the walk is gorgeous. Hard to complain much about not being on that elevator. Look at these skies today. Wow. This is a square in front of the convent of Our Lady of Mount Carmel. This 14th century medieval convent and Gothic church. Were just destroyed by a 9.0 earthquake that struck in 1755. And you can see it's blue skies today. And that is the convent over there. As you can see between the trees behind the, I don't know what that is, the big blue cover. You can see the remnants of the Gothic church. We're going to see if we can sneak inside now. I think in some ways I like this more than a intact church. You can see the Gothic influences in the arches and the pedestals. Beautiful. Inside the Gothic church museum area. You may remember when we were in Peru, these grave robbers stole these mummies, and this is where they ended up, some of them at least, here in Lisbon.
That completes our Old Town walking tour. Click the link below this YouTube video to get your interactive Google map of this walking tour for free. Plus, make sure to subscribe to learn how to make money online while you travel wherever you want in the world. This is Dan of Vagabond Buddha. Thanks for listening. The world is your home. What time will you be home for dinner?